Okay, buenas tardes, Pastor Junior here. I'm just walking. I'm just walking and just meditating on Psalm chapter 13. Psalm chapter 13 it says to the director of music, right? Psalm 13 to the director of music, a psalm of David. What's a psalmist? A psalmist is one who writes psalms, right? A psalmist is one who writes psalms. But notice what it says. Psalm chapter 13, it says to the director of music. You know, and the director of music could be Asaph, right? Because Asaph was David's music man. And so yeah, Psalm chapter 13. You know what does he say? You know, notice what the psalmist says here. He says this. He says, "How long, O Lord?" He says, "How long, O Lord, will you forget me?" He says, "How long, O Lord, will you forget me?" Right? And then he says, and then verse 2 says, How long must I wrestle with my thoughts? You know, are you wrestling with your thoughts this evening? Like the psalmist here was. Verse 2, once again, in Psalm 13 says, How long must I wrestle with my thoughts? And are you wrestling with your thoughts this evening? And are you crying out to the Lord like the psalmist here in Psalm chapter 13, verse 1 says, How long, O Lord? How long, O Lord? How long, O Lord, will you forget me? Right? Are you there? Are you in that time? Are you there right now? Like where you're just like, oh Lord, how long will you forget me? How long will you continue to forget me? Right? So if you read the psalm, it keeps going, how long, O Lord? How long, O Lord? How long, O Lord? If you have to, say how long, O Lord, for 4 or 5 times right here, you got to know homeboy's depressed, right? But you know what? You got to look at verse 6. Well, verse 5 says, but I trust in your unfailing love. He says, but I trust in your unfailing love. Right? After he's like, how long, O Lord, will you continue to forgive me? How long, O Lord, must I wrestle with my thoughts? And then he goes, how long, O Lord, and how long, O Lord, man? I mean, almost depressed, man. But look at it, in verse 6, and verse 5 says, but I have trusted in your unfailing love. I will rejoice in what? In your salvation. I will rejoice, but I trust in you, but I trust in your unfailing love. Right? I will trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. My heart rejoices in your salvation. And then verse 6 says, but I will sing unto the Lord because he promised to be good to me. So if you're right now, battling that depression like homeboy was here, you see, Psalm 13 teaches us how to get out of depression. How quickly do we fall into depression? We quickly fall into depression when when we're like the psalmist right here, right? Because the psalmist, he says, how long, O Lord? How long, O Lord, will you continue to forget me? How long, O Lord, will I wrestle with my thoughts? Right? Homeboy was wrestling with his thoughts. You could be wrestling with your thoughts right now, right? But the psalmist says, hey, but I will sing of your unfailing love. I will sing of your unfailing love and rejoice in your salvation. And why? Because and notice what the psalmist says in verse 6. It says, I will sing unto the Lord. Because why? Because he promised to be good to me. So, just get that mindset, man. You come out of your depression. Come out of your depression. Sing unto the Lord, because God promised to be good to you, right? It's like that one statement that says, a negative mind will never give you a positive future. A negative mind will never give you a positive future, and that's a fact, man. Right here in Psalm 13, the psalmist is going through it. It says to the director of music. Who was the director of music? Well, it could be Asaph. Asaph was David's music man, right? And it says to a psalm of David, right? But anyway, just want to encourage you guys with that, right? If you're wrestling with your thoughts, like the psalmist right here says, how long must I wrestle with my thoughts? And then verse 1 says, how long, O Lord, will you continue to forget me? I mean, he's like, how long, O Lord, how long, O Lord, how long, O Lord? So homeboy's depressed, but he gets out of his depression, right? Because he sang to the Lord because God promised to be good to him. So God promises to be good to you. Just remain strong, man. Remain strong. Stay faithful. God's got a plan, and he'll get you out of that. promise to get you out of that. Whatever situation you're going through, trust Him. See? All right? Órale, pues. God bless you. Just a word of encouragement, guys.